Yo, what's up, blessed ones? This is Blair, your cancer care bear. No hair, don't care. All faith, no fear. I am in the car, but we are still in the vibe. First off, I just want to thank everybody who have watched, listened, subscribed, liked, shared, participated, anticipated these episodes. We are now on episode 40. And it's a blessing because times when I feel like, hey, I want to give up. Times when I feel like, hey, no, I'm not reaching, my goals the way I want to. I was just like, man, forget it. But I'm still going. And that's only because I really, really enjoy sharing and giving perspective. And even if I just have one listener, I feel like I have achieved my goal. Because again, it's all about reaching the people and allowing people to, be involved. So before I get to the main point, I just want to once again point out that this podcast is my show. It is my platform, but it is also for the listeners. I want the listeners to be involved. I want the listeners to, contribute to the show, but yeah, like I say, I'm trying to get a little better at doing this. I want to try to do at least every week, but sometimes other things come up, and I'm going to just be 100% honest. I just sometimes don't be having the time, energy, or be in the mood to do it. But I thank everyone who has been patient with me. But I am in the car, so you can call this backseat reservations or, Carfax. And it's not your traditional setting. But again, I like to be hands-on. I like to go live. I like to be able to do things when I want to. That's why I'm with RSS feed. But I was thinking about something. I was watching Bel Air, recent episode 8, and it was a really emotional episode because those of you who haven't seen it yet, I suggest everybody see. I'm not going to give much away, but those of you who are familiar with the show, those of you who are familiar with the whole franchise, we all know at least that, the character Will Smith, he was raised without his father, right? And this particular episode touched a little bit more base on it without giving away any spoilers. And it just kind of hit a nerve for me because me being a father, me being a son, like I was raised with my father, raised by both my parents. My dad was in the military, so, my mom was, more active, and my dad being as active, but as far as like he wasn't as present as my mother was. And that's it's almost like, history repeating itself because I'm very active in my son's life. I do wish that I can be a little bit more present. And, but again, we all work. We have other things. I don't think a person who has children have to give up anything else just because they have children. I'm a big believer that you do have to make sacrifices. You do have to think about them, but I don't think your soul life is over because you have a child. And with me being kind of like, it's like a reflection of my father as well. Parents separated, divorced, kind of spending time here with my mom and spending time here with my father. And, you kind of get influenced in different ways. See, me, those of you who know me knows that, hey, I'm very outspoken, but I'm also reserved. I'm very quiet. And ironically, I have a podcast, but it's just something that I express a lot as far as me being a dad, me being a father. Is I wanted to be a dad and wanted to be a father, regardless of whether the timing was not what I wanted, but I raised my son a little bit differently than maybe the traditional parent, or even like her mom. Me and his mom, we have different ways to go about how we discipline our son, how we raise our son, all to an agreement that, hey, we gotta make sure that we stay on top of him, make sure that we do allow him to, stay on task and do what he needs to do. But, for me, me not being present 24/7, that does something to me physically, mentally as well as I'm sure with him. But, my son just be happy to, see me, happy to talk to me. He's always asking. I always want to spend time with me and stuff. Sometimes I got to work, but I always make time for my son. I love my son. I don't want to get too emotional, because once I start talking about my son, a lot of times I, I get emotional, because I take pride in that. I take pride in being, a dad, being a father, sensitive daddy here. But yeah, those of you who haven't looked at Bel Air, I think y'all should look at it on Peacock. If y'all don't have it, man, I'll let y'all use my password and get on there. It's a really great show. I didn't really follow Fresh Prince like that, when I was younger. But I think this is a real good, different, it's a little bit more dark, a little bit more drama on this show, and I love it. I'm sorry I can't remember all the characters' names, but no, Coco Jones. She's the young lady who plays Taylor Lee. She's a great character. But moving on, this is really what I wanted to come talk about. This question was presented to me by a good friend of mine. She was on the show a couple episodes ago, and she had asked me, if I think, or yeah, if I think, do I think that between love, we have to leave room for individual toxicity? And I really had to think about it, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm still going back and forth about it, because I don't feel like, I'm not going to say I don't feel like toxicity is necessary, but when you're involved with someone, when you are when you are dealing with someone, dating someone, or even in a serious relationship with someone, I feel like we need time to just figure out what we're gonna do. Like, I don't really believe in jumping in relationships. I feel like taking time to get to know someone. Maybe if you want to be exclusive with that person, you should know a little bit more about them than just their last name. Not necessarily saying you have to know their entire background, their family or whatnot, but toxicity to me can be very dangerous. And that question was very challenging, because I know I have my toxic traits, and I have expressed this a lot to my friends, even to women that I was involved with or otherwise. Like, I'm selfish, and I didn't realize how much selfish I was until I did get married, until I did have children. Like, I was when I was married, I used to, like, I'll be coming home from work maybe, or like I would go out. Sometimes I'd just be on the way home, and I'll be home. I'll be like, okay, it's late, wife probably didn't cook, or maybe did, and sometimes I would only have a little bit of money. I was still struggling. We was all struggling. So, but it was like, I'm about to go get me some food, right? Might have had on like $10. So a lot of times I would like, I gotta be still gotta be a good husband, and I would call and say, y'all eat or anything. And I was hoping sometime that that she would say no, because I didn't have enough money to, feed everyone. But, it was just kind of like, that's kind of bad. But, look, that's just because when I got married, I knew at some point that, part of me was like, okay, I wasn't necessarily ready all the way mentally, but I knew that this is what I wanted. And a lot of times, and again, you don't have to, there's a lot of things that we do in life that we're not ready for, but we do have to walk on faith. We do have to go jump out the window sometimes and, just trust God. And that's what I did. It was more so like I didn't prepare properly as a man, as a father. But, the question as far as like, should there be room left for individual toxicity? I think it's case by case personally, just my view. And again, it might change because it's something that I like, I'm thinking about, and I'm like, I probably have to, it's inevitable, because again, it's like being selfish can be toxic. Thinking about yourself can be toxic, especially when you're in a relationship, but it's also important because you got to make sure that you're in a good mind space to be there for your partner. And a lot of things that I noticed about myself when I'm interested in someone, I might oftentimes just feel like that, hey, this person is already mine. Because if you're entertaining me, or if you're kind of interacting with me in a way where it's like, okay, that I'm interested in you, and I expressed this multiple times, yet we're not exclusive, but then, we're not dating, we're not like kind of like going out or anything. It then kind of throws off the rhythm of things, just for me. It's that was a very interesting question, and so I did try to reach out to my friend the other day to talk about it, because I wanted a little bit more understanding of the question. But and again, once I always say the disclaimer, a lot of times, hey, I'm not always right. My mind can change. This isn't like like when I'll be speaking on the episodes, I'm not speaking, anything that's like this isn't like universal facts or anything. This is just from my experience, from my knowledge, from what I know, my truth, my beliefs, my understanding. Like, everybody can go about what they can go about. And that was one thing that I had to, that I also had to learn. I was in this clubhouse room the other day, and they was talking about, can biracial people, can they be considered black? And it was just kind of like, man, it was very interesting, because I'm like, you can be both. But a lot of people were sitting there putting in signs and talking about the man has the most dominant gene, or the black DNA has the most dominant gene, so you're black regardless of if you're 50% white or 45% white or Mexican or whatnot. But bottom line is, we don't want. There's certain things in life that isn't really that important, just as far as I'm concerned. Like, I don't care what race you are, or what ethnic or nationality you claim. I don't care what type of sexuality you recognize with. I mean, truth is truth. Again, yeah, you can't, erase DNA, whatever your DNA says it is. But, the world is still compared to us, me being 34, I'm still new in this world compared to someone who's been living here for 80 years. There's a whole bunch of new discoveries. But my whole point is, a lot of things don't matter. A lot of things is irrelevant because at the end of the day, we all go to the same grave. You know, we're all going to die and that's be it. Whether you believe in heaven, hell, where you're going, I mean, like, the point is, we're here on this earth right now. So we got to make the best of it. A lot of times we sit here and try to tell somebody else how to live their life, and we're not all the way there. Like, that's the thing. Like, everybody's underqualified to tell somebody what to do with, you know, their bodies, with their children, with themselves. You know, we think how we think, we believe what we believe, and it can be kind of like a catch-22 because we all have to have some wisdom, because wisdom is going to get you, you know, you don't want to be struggling longer than you need to. You just got to use common sense and be wise. However, at the same time, I think we stress ourselves out so much that we kind of start hating on people because they're doing what they want and we can't do nothing about it. That's kind of how I look at it, you know? So, you know, in hindsight, what the bottom line is this. You know, I think we all need to have that individual toxicity, whether we're in a relationship or not. Being in a relationship, you got to kind of give. You got to kind of be a little bit more. You got to kind of be a little bit more understanding. You can't just, you know, be for self. But all in all, I feel like it is important that, man, it's so hot. It is so important that, you know, we have some type of trait, because at the end of the day, when you think of a toxic person, it's all perspective. You might feel like if you're in an abusive relationship, this person is mistreating you and you're staying with this person, you're in a toxic relationship. Or this person can be so great to you and you don't recognize that they're doing everything that they can, doing everything that they got to do to make you happy. But at the same time, you might look at them and be like, well, you're giving me everything I want, everything I need. You know, hey, you're not really allowing me to wonder. Because that's the thing. People, we expect certain things as we should. We have certain standards as we should. But when you're in a relationship and people and the person that you're involved with does everything you say, unfortunately, you might look at this person as a pushover, a punk, or just like, hey, this person don't care. Because for some reason, people feel like you have to fight in order for a relationship to be strong. Like you got to have problems. I personally don't feel that way. That's why I said it was kind of difficult for me to answer. But I do feel like, you know, at this moment, I do feel like, you know, we do have to leave room for individual toxicity, because even if you're married to someone, that marriage is going to have its struggles. But I feel like there's something we all have to work on, because we're not perfect. So you might be dealing with a man or a woman who has trauma. You might be dealing with someone who has anxiety. You might be dealing with someone who has, you know, a certain aura about them that isn't always hitting your spirit sometimes. We have bad days. And that's all to me is toxicity is something that is, you know, bad and detrimental to your life or relationship. But that's the thing about being in relationships. Like I said, we don't have to always have problems. There don't have to be any fights or arguments, but there's going to be something you're going to have to work through. Because you're one person, and then you're dealing with another person. So there's going to be certain things that you're going to have to do for yourself, and then also do for this person, whether you're married or not. But that was pretty much all. I hope everybody was able to follow that. I just wanted to get on here for a quick second because it was on my mind, and I said I wanted to be more active with my podcast, with my videos. So even if it's just 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours, whatever, I do want to put this up. It's more like a virtual diary, so to speak, or like maybe even a public service announcement, whatever it is, however you say it. But I'm going to be documenting more of my thoughts and views through podcasts. And my phone just shut off, so if the video will be, because silly me, I'm out here in the heat, don't got my AC on, and of course these iPhones, it ran hot, so. But you will be able to see the video. You won't be able to see everything, but I just wanted to share that insight, and I appreciate everyone who took the time to listen, to watch. Again, as always, stay safe, stay prosperous, positive, productive, and again, I feel there's not always a need for me to have an intro or outro because I just want to get right to the point. And like I said, a lot of times this is all real in real time. So if I'm not editing the videos in, editing the audios in, the music in, the intros in, I just go up and record, then I put it out there. Because all podcast is, which a lot of people don't understand, it's broadcasting. But it's like it originally, I'll get into that another video, but it originally started with being like exclusively on like a recorder. But yeah, this is Blair, and I'm out.